All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trek Talk. I'm TechMan16.
I'm Strange Kirk.
I'm Handy.
And then up here we got Jaehand from Server 11. Jay, how you doing?
I'm still waking up, so give me some coffee infusion.
Excellent. We'll give you an IV shot into the arm. And then our returning champion, ocmsrzr from his back. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. I like to think of myself as the only returning guest who's still really enthusiastic about the game.
Oh, there are plenty of people enthusiastic about the game. They all show up on DJ's show.
I was supposed to say they ain't on your show.
That's funny.
Here we talk bullshit.
I got some of that too, sir.
Yeah. All right. So Handy, how's it going, man? How's the new non-alliance alliance with Dark going on?
Great. Everybody's raiding and doing some friendly PvP. It's been a good time.
Yeah.
People are pretty cool about it. So far, so good.
Any big raids outside of Trojan's base?
I don't think so. I mean,
Is that still going on?
if you think about it, like the amount of time it takes, nobody wants to put that amount of time of actually draining anything of meaning, right? So.
Yeah. Trojan's going to be raided for like a year. With the amount of resources he's got.
Right. It's just too time consuming. I'm not interested.
Oh, look, somebody's thrown up some vortivores in there. Oh well. Anyways, I've noticed an uptick in activity because my base gets hit. Because I don't really move. So I think Biker hit my base twice in like 3 days. Fun. I like doing that. Can't stand up to his Kelvin yet, but soon we'll be able to.
I think people are just bored, so they're doing raiding, just a means to an end, just trying to entertain themselves.
I have noticed that.
I want to say this. For people listening that hit Tech's base, there's not really a time that his base gets hit that somebody else doesn't find out about it and we call him. So I'm just throwing it out there, man. It's pretty futile. I mean, people snitch. I don't know. Everybody likes him, I guess.
Either he's shielded or he's online.
I mean, you're able to get maybe like.
Well, it's not like I said. It's not just that. It's like last night, somebody was trying to hit his base, and then somebody sent me a message. So I mean, it happens all the time, and I'm not the only one they send messages to. So, like, I'm just saying, I guarantee you that there is at least 5 people on each of your teams, no matter which team you're on, that will snitch on you.
Well, it is funny because I also do get messages from a bunch of people. I think last night somebody posted my coordinates in GC, and I was just curious who was going to be the person that would hit my base, because it was somebody from AZH that posted it, and then Smooth actually sent me a message saying, "Hey, some asshat posted your cores in GC." I'm like, okay, well, let's see who answers it. And who answers it? It was Biker from Nona. I'm like, all right, cool, that's fun. So we had it out a little bit. I was able to play possum for maybe like a hit or two, but other than that, it's kind of 43 versus a 38 with a 9 mil Kelvin. Kind of gets a little hard some points, but it was fun regardless. And then Mud, who's listening here, thanks Mud, by the way. He messaged me on Discord the other day saying, "Hey man, a couple of your ships don't have defensive crews on your base." And I told him, "Hey, like, you want to try? You can hit it if you like." And he goes, "No, I know better." So that's always been fun. But yeah, anybody who's listening, Inco hit my base. You know, I posted the screenshot in podcast chat. I mean, I really can't stand up to it. Otherwise, I'd play possum with Inco too. But that was also pretty fun. That Sanctus packs a wallop, especially with Con on it. Eesh.
Did you check the battle log?
Yeah, that lasted 2 rounds.
What kind of hits did it have? Probably
Yeah, it's so far down in my battle log now, but yeah, it was like 20 million critical hit damage, then another 26 million critical hit damage. It was pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can go back.
So how many rounds did it take?
Oh, it was
Two.
2 rounds. 2 rounds.
Okay.
I actually got past the first round, so that I consider that a win.
Small
Yeah, it's
victory.
definitely a check mark in the win category.
I know, right? I was like,
And people always say, "Oh, his ship bounced off my base." Well, in this case, his base bounced off the ship.
put a little dent in it, put a little scratch. Yeah, no, it's out of my battle log now because I had to kill a whole bunch of swarms and whatnot. Anyways, let's do something we haven't done today. Let's talk about a new server. It's been a while since we brought somebody new on the show. And Jay, welcome back, man. I know you were here last time listening. And you're from server 11. So I'm going to give you the floor. Tell us your best and worst parts of your server.
Oh God, the best parts of the server is that, in the overall sense, we're pretty good about being community based. You know, looking out for each other. You know, both in real life and in game, and for the most part, you get just a bunch of us that are just we're all interconnected with each other somehow or another. Either we've all been in the same alliance together, and then we've kind of gone our different ways into different alliances, but we still stay connected in certain ways. But we really came together when they did all of that server merger stuff a while back. Because I'm trying to remember the actual server. I think it was server 19 merged into us after the server war. And it was, oh my God, it was crazy how things just went upside down after the server merger, because the event, server 11 actually won the event. But then when server 19 merged with us, they tried to come in as the big dog and take over and change all the rules of everything. And it was the first time in 2.5 years of playing on server 11 that I literally saw everybody. There was no pissing and moaning. There was no, oh, I don't like you. It was, wait a minute, you're server 11. Let's all gang up and just put it to them and show them that they're not as big and bad as they think they are because they have a bigger wallet.
So was your server then? It was pretty low population because it merged.
No, ironically, we were actually pretty high population. I had created a second account when they started doing that, where you could transfer accounts up to level 12 or whatever. I had created a second account that I had intended on moving into server 11 because it didn't start in server 11. And when I went to try to pick server 11, it said the server population was too full. So I don't know what's the Scopely math that decided that we needed to merge with another server. But we've always been pretty reasonably high population and pretty active servers. So I think they just wanted to add more of a challenge to get rid of some stagnation, throw in some new faces.
So okay, prior to the merge, how many active players would you say were on your server then?
Oh God, that's a lot of counting.
Well, just roughly, because I think on our server we've got about anywhere between probably 1,600 and maybe 2,000 people active on our
Yeah,
server.
I'd say that's probably about, probably ballparking, probably run in the same area, anywhere between 1,500 to 2,000. I just know that like you go to do a Latinum Monday or like yesterday's Borg event, and you fly into any given system to try to do it, and there are just literally ships everywhere, and you're racing to try to tag whatever you can tag.
That's interesting that they would merge relatively active servers together. Usually it's mainly, low population, stagnation, whatever, but
Well, here's a quick question, real quick. When you tried to move into the server, I would ask, how close was that to when they did the server merger? Because they may have known that was happening, so they closed that server prior to the merger.
It was pretty close. I'd say it was within a month of when they did the server merger.
I would argue that it probably didn't do that. They just probably turned it off where people couldn't join because they knew they were going to have a server merger, if that makes sense.
No, that does make sense.
yeah, but still the fact of the matter is that they merged two servers that had relatively high populations.
Yeah, because even server 19 coming in, the amount of players that we saw once the merger was done was pretty high. At least 1,000 or more people, active players that showed up just overnight.
So, do you have clear-cut alliances where you have the top power alliance, or is it constantly shifting based on the amount of people that switch around?
Up until the server merger, things were pretty steady and pretty stagnant. There was one particular alliance that was generally the top dog alliance, and they were mostly filled with the Wallet Warrior people, but they were if you dealt with the right people within the alliance, they were pretty honorable people. And the top 10 usually, with maybe a slight variation depending upon the event or whatever real life things people had going on, were pretty stagnant as far as who was gonna put in be on the leaderboards as far as top 10, top 15, top 20. And then when the server merger happened, it did shift a bit. Of course, they actually had two Wallet Warrior alliances that from server 19 that actually were friends with each other. They were sister alliances to each other, and they both came in, and that's when the battle royale started, because they tried to take the top seat from our Wallet Warrior alliance. And everybody just said, okay, we don't like these guys. We've been playing with them for 2.5 years, and they tend to, make us angry half the time. But you're not going to come in here and just try to take over and make your own rules. So we're all going to stand up against you. And then when we watched the leaderboards over the past, 6 months, a year, whenever I can't even remember how long ago the server merger happened. You can pretty much see who is going to be top 5, top 10, and those three alliances will rotate around again depending upon the event and what they have going on. Their individual members may have going on in real life, whether they're able to complete certain aspects of events or whatnot, but they're always pretty much the same top 3 guys, and then they just rotate around who's going to be number one. And the same with in territory zones, where they're going to be at, what space they're going to take, and where to locate them on the map, because they always pretty much are in the same area.
Got it. So did that when the merger happened, did that start off a war between 11 and 19 and eventually got settled out, or how did that unification take place?
I'd say for the most part, it's settled out. There's still a few remnants of the 11 versus 19 war that, still kick off from time to time. And it's usually somebody's trying to change or wants to change like an ROE rule. Like we one of the ROE standards that we have had on server 11 is your average don't hit miners that are not overprotected and not on a dead zero node. And then they extended that to include certain areas of dark space, and they put a modifier on it to, I think it was like 300,000 overprotected, or somewhere in that ballpark, that you don't hit a miner unless they're like more than 300,000 overprotected in deep space. And some people went out there and saw miners that were like 600,000-700,000 overprotected and were like, "Oh, hey, tasty treats, let's go kill them and take what they got." And it happened to be server 19 guys that were out there mining, and they had a conniption about it because their ROE was different when it came to deep space, and that's what reset off everything going on, because they wanted to change the ROE, and it was one alliance, one of the Wallet Warrior alliances, that wanted to change the ROE, and they tried to push it on everybody else, and it reignited things. And it goes back and forth. We'll have a lot of peaceful days, and then all of a sudden somebody will do something that goes against server 19 ROE, and it relights the fire.
What's the state of affairs now?
Lately, it's been pretty peaceful.
Surprisingly, right?
Yeah, I have been really surprised. I mean, I've seen some things in GC where people have complained with like the territory events, because people have been, what's the term that you guys like to use? Dropping pin and then dropping.
Oh, drop tags.
Yeah, yeah, they go and they attack a territory for the event, and then as soon as they've won, they just drop the territory.
Oh, that. Yeah. Handy and Nona did that like repeatedly.
It did that all over the place. Basically, any system that we could take, we took it for the points, and then dropped it if we needed to drop it to go try for another system. I mean, that's how the event was written. That's how it should be played, right?
Guilty.
I think those events are dumb as hell, and the rewards aren't worth the scuffs and the butt hurt that you get into, regardless of whether or not the butt hurt is warranted or they're just whining. It's still one of those things, like, I don't know, man. The juice just isn't worth the squeeze.
No, it isn't, but it depends on how you look at it, what your goals are. If your goal is only to participate for rewards, then no, it's not worth it. If your goal is to play the game as it's intended and have a good time with your buddies and take some shit and do some stuff, then sure, it's worth it. You got some entertainment out of it.
That's the funny thing about, at least in our server, it's one of those things that people, we always talk about, how the game is played, and we talk about the mechanics and how stupid they are, but then we'll go and do these events, and then it's under the guise of, well, that's the way the game's intended to be played, right? So I feel like sometimes, myself included, I'm sure, if we dig back far enough, I think we've all been guilty of contradicting ourselves based on the circumstances and how we want to justify it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, we're all hypocrites, no doubt. But that's just humanity. I mean, we're always going to twist the situation to our benefit. I mean, that's just the way we are. We're humanity. We're gonna do what feels right.
I think the other alliance being butthurt is the reward.
To give an example of that hypocrisy, now this was another TC thing, but it wasn't event related. It was just a regular, hey, the territory came up for availability for somebody to take it, and my alliance had gone in to, hey, we're going to go ahead and go after this. It's connected to our other territory, the whole follow the rules. and a bunch of us had staged in a nearby nearby system. And while we were in the territory, trying to take this territory, another alliance came in and did their thing. Well, they sent about 5 or 6 of their ships to where we had our bases staged at and started hitting their bases while we were doing the territory thing. And
Guilty.
we all were like sitting there like, whoa, 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 this is not cool. And this is very dishonorable. So, and we all of us got angry over this because nobody has ever done that we had ever seen in the game.
Yeah, I mean, people got to remember, if they're going to do shit in this game, they better expect it to come back.
Well, in our server, I was one of the first people to come up with that strategy, except it wasn't necessarily hitting bases. It's that when you warp out of your base, even if you're shielded, there's a 4-second window where that ship can be hit because it's just sitting there. And that's what we would do. We would go to these people's territories and sit on top of their bases with a couple ships, and every time they tried to warp out, you just blow up all the little ships. And yeah, there was a lot of
That was back when there was really bad lag, though. And it was
yeah,
like,
it was really bad.
like you're
There's
getting
still
blocked
bad
out
lag.
of the system. You can't get in the system, and
Well, it's still like that. It's just that we don't have the wars to that magnitude anymore. So we don't have those
because we kind of abolished the mega coalitions, which I highly recommend everybody do if they can.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I was one of the people, and there was a lot of butthurt over it. I did it to somebody, and then they went around and started dry hitting miners, and they were like, "Oh, you're dry hitting." I'm like, "That's not dry hitting. It's a warship. You're just being whiny because we outsmarted you and we took your shit. So get the fuck over it." But there were a couple of those players in MOST. They were really butthurt about it. They were crying. And of course, it's generally going to be your weaker players. Back then it was the people that were like maybe level 30 or something, 28. And nothing against them, but it's just they couldn't do anything about it. None of their warships were big enough to do anything, so they were just stuck in their base, and they were super frustrated. And I understand, but it's a strategy, and it worked. And the result was there. So
Yeah, that's when people forgot to realize that you can move your ship out of your base, and then the ship can't target it, or if it does, you move another ship out, and then you warp them. Some people got smart to doing that, but others, no, they just kept trying to warp and got nowhere.
well, no, I mean you can run the ship away from the base, but yeah, still.
Well, yeah, I mean if you're a low level player, I mean some people got really smart, right? They started using Rialtas and Vidars with speed crews, and they just move the ship out of the base, so you can't use your bigger warship to target them, or if you do, you move them away from the base, and then you warp them into the territory that you're doing to do your do your little strategy of running around just to get points. Anyways, Jay, back to server 11. So what alliance are you from, and where does that sit on the leaderboard, and what level are you?
Okay, so I am in Sparta on server 11. That was not my original home, but that's where I've been for about the last 6 months. And Sparta on average, hold on a second, let me see, because I know we got that Borg thing going on right now. I should be able to see. Right now in the Borg event, we're sitting at rank 19. And usually we're right around somewhere between 10 and 12. So I think we're a little bit behind on the Borg event for some reason. But Sparta, yeah, usually sits right around the 10, 11, or 12 spot on average. So it's an active alliance, but not like overly like number one active.
Nice. And what level are you?
Current level 34. As soon as I get a couple of more of them stupid rare, I'll be bumping to 35.
Hey, all right, a mid-tier player instead of a whale. Suck it, Occams.
I don't think 34 is mid anymore. It's moved on. 39 is the new mid.
Yeah, well, I guess it depends on the server.
You're now a small.
You're not small. Oh, geez. Remember the days when
You're small in my lines, brother.
remember when a Saladin used to rule the galaxy?
I can remember when my 900K Centurion was a force to be reckoned with. I was so proud.
And now you probably scrapped it.
Don't let the level 34 Saladin fool you. It can still put a scratch in you.
Oh yeah, yeah. Especially if you're going up against explorers, put a Harrison on it and some crit crews. It'll hit a couple of kinetic damage pretty good. So 34. What's the highest power on your server then? Because server 11's a pretty old server, right? I mean, it's been around since the beta days.
Yep, the game since the game originally started. So let's see. The highest power on the server is individual player or alliance? Which
Oh,
one?
player. Let's do player first.
163,500,000.
What's the level?
He is 55.
All right. All right. Inca will demolish him with his Sanctus.
In fact, irony is that I recognize the guy's name, but I actually haven't seen him in a while. Directly seen him in a while, so I don't know what he's been doing.
Probably must be taking some time away from the game. People have been bored lately with the events, so it's not surprising. All right, and then the alliance. What's the power? What's the total power of that alliance?
Oh god, make sure I read my numbers right. 2,696,764,000.
All right, so we got a ways to go.
And that's I would have expected their numbers to actually be higher than that because that's one of the Wallet Warrior alliances.
Yeah.
Well, you're only going to be driven as high as your highest player. So, like for us, we have Inch, and Inch drives pretty high, which drives the other competition really high.
Yeah, I mean, just for reference, and Mud, yes, yeah, we are measuring our giant eggplants here. Nona is 3.78 billion, Dark is 3.5 billion, and then MCRN 2.5 billion, MBD 2.2 billion. So
Okay.
and then Occam's approaching 3 billion by himself.
If Scopely I'm ready to go, brother. If Scopely will give me a good build event this next arc, I'm going to be breathing some Incho level air. Not quite, but I'll be able to see him for where I'm at.
Okay, all right, we're excited to take a look at your progress. All right, so Jay, tell us something funny that happened on your server.
Funny? Let's see. Well, that depends upon your definition of funny because we've all got different ideas of what's funny.
Oh, just give us a story you find funny. I don't know, some guy, hit a guy because he thought he was a hostile or whatever, and that started a war. I don't know, something like that.
Okay, well, the irony is, we'll go with funny irony here. So, I got introduced to your podcast, but by listening to Ultimate DJs. Okay,
Shout out to DJs.
that's how I wound up finding out about your podcast, and I like to get different points of views and listen to because you never know where you're going to find information and different points of views and different ideas. And last weekend when you and I first started messaging each other about having me come on this weekend show, what originated all of this is that I was commenting about was there a full moon or something because I noticed a lot of commentary both on your voice chat and in the regular chat about people just going out and being aggro and just doing crazy things of just attacking people. And I was like, is there a full moon or something? Because there seems to be a lot of people just going out and doing stupid things. We had been dealing with a particular player who has been kicked out of multiple alliances. He has been muted by Scopely. Like, he cannot chat in game at all. Because it was so vulgar, and so many people reported him that they just muted him in game. But he was friends with a couple of my alliance my alliance mates, and so they brought him in and were like, oh, hey, let's give him a chance. So all of his communication with us was via Discord. If he wanted to join an armada and say he was on his way, he had to do it through Discord. So you had to pay attention not only to in-game chat, but pay attention to Discord chat too, to know if he was on his way or not. And quite frequently, he would get starred out of an armada, or basically people weren't using Discord or paying attention to Discord, so they didn't see what he was saying, and he just went off and had a temper tantrum. He dropped tag and immediately started targeting anybody and everybody in Sparta to try to, because he was mad. He wasn't getting what he wanted. Nobody was listening to him. Nobody was doing things the way he wanted them done. And it's not our fault that he got muted by Scopely. That's his fault. And so last night, when you messaged me to remind me about this morning, I'm sitting here, got my game running. I'm catching up on the last couple of episodes of Star Trek Discovery Season 4 on the other monitor. And all the while, we've got like six or seven of our guys camped at his base and doing like what you were describing about, where they try to send a ship out and then that's that 4-second delay before they can warp. And he's trying to get his ship, because he went around and started hitting miners and lower level players from my alliance. So we found his base and we all camped out and we just sat there, and every time he sent a ship out, we blew it up.
Is he a high level player?
No, he's actually only level 35. And most of his battleships or warships are in the like 2.5-3 million power range.
I'm just curious why Scopely didn't ban his account. The reason being is, in my experiences with Scopely, is that if you spend money on the game and Scopely finds out you spend money on the game, you can skirt away some of the rules that they have for their terms of service, which are nebulous at best. But if you're not a spender and there's enough complaints about you, your account just gets banned. So I don't know what situation happened where he's perma muted but still allowed to play. That's really strange. Anybody else find that strange?
Yeah, it's weird.
And that's one of the things that we've always been trying to figure out, is because he's been around since pretty much the start of the game, and he used to mouth off quite a bit in Galaxy chat, which is what got him perma-muted, is his choice of vulgar language, discriminatory, whatever violation of Scopely rules. But like you said, they just muted him, and he's been perma-muted for I don't even know how long. I know it's been a long ass time that he's been perma-muted, and but then he keeps doing it through different channels, like through Discord or through other sources to be able to comment. And his most recent thing is he changed his player tag, his name in game, to reference how much liberty do I have to speak freely on your podcast, Tech? So I don't want to say
We have no filter.
We don't censor. Yeah, we don't censor.
He changed his gamer tag to say Scopely Pussies muted me. So he's playing around in a ship where his name literally says Scopely pussies muted me, and he's still not banned.
You must have Scopely's dirty pictures or something.
He's got something on him, because I know personally at least a dozen people that saw him flying around last night and reported his username, and I still saw him flying around this morning.
And that's funny because we had one of our players in MBD, Peach. She had the word orgasm in her name, and then she got banned for a day. Like, so
For having the word orgasm in her name.
yeah.
You heard it here first. Scopely is misogynistic and against female orgasms.
There you go. Excellent. Can't wait to air this episode. It's gonna be awesome.
That is good.
DJs, do not promote this episode.
Oh god.
Or do the opposite. Do the opposite of what Kirk says, and promote it like crazy.
Yeah, just blast it out.
He's gonna have sex.
Go listen to Tech Natty Kirk. They're talking about pussies and female orgasms.
There you go. Put that in your early morning coffee.
That shit.
All right, so you drop tags, and is he still attacking you guys?
As of this, well, I haven't actually sent any ships out this morning to find out, but like last night, when they were doing that, hitting his ships as he was pulling them out of his base, which still astonished me, because we're all sitting there like, really, how many times are you just going to repair and send a ship out, and before you just finally say, okay, I'm going to stop, because you're getting blown up every time you walk out your garage. But as of this morning, I haven't seen anything, nor is there any comments in my Alliance chat saying that he's out and about. So I don't know what he's doing this morning, but I did see him flying around, because he's still got the same tag name, and he was sending out a mining ship somewhere.
Hey, Occams, you ever had to deal with like a single person?
Yeah, we got a chucklehead, the level 52 chucklehead, who's been the villain of our server for as far back as anyone can remember.
How do you deal with him?
I ride him like a toilet seat.
Oh god.
So you have your tracker people find him, and then you just smash his base.
Oh yeah. I think the word's out. For the longest time, even alliances that weren't allied together, we had a room hosted on a certain alliance's Discord, and it gave leadership of all the various alliances, and it was all to track him. If there was a sighting of him anywhere in the server, they would post it up there, and you'd get an alert on Discord, and if you were a guy, he had some potent ships for the average player, certainly. He's like the stupidest whale that ever lived, and you're like, hey, it's coal time, and we shut him down. We still do.
Does he still run around?
Any alliance that takes him will automatically be at war with us forever.
That sounds. By the way, that sounds like a really great moniker for a professional wrestling name. Stupidest whale of all time.
Yeah, he is. I can't. Yeah.
Okay, tell us why.
Hey, Occam, we adopted your aggressive RoE status?
How's it working?
We haven't had to put anybody on it yet.
You're not doing it right.
Should we just drawn a name out of a hat?
That's brilliant. We might start doing it. We may take that from you.
All right, we'll do that. We'll just draw a name out of a hat.
See what we got going on in this show. We got cross-server cooperation of how to really make the game more fun, I guess.
I mean, you're talking to the guy who's I'm reliably informed that I'm currently the Antichrist on our server because, you know, I posted a war declaration on 2 alliances on Christmas morning. I'm the sum of all evil. So, yeah.
I just wanted to say, you want to, for that first go, grab like a half dozen names out of a hat.
Stretch ourselves too thin here.
See, now that would be fun. Just write up a bunch of names, pick a couple of names out of the hat, and say, "This week I'm at war with you."
Yeah, why not?
I'm pushing my alliance. We've always been at war at Christmas, and we weren't at war this Christmas. And we had a couple alliances that irritated myself and Boom. So we declared war on them on Christmas. I'm trying to get a tradition going. I call it the Delaware Classic. We're going to cross Frozen River and kill you on Christmas morning. It's an American tradition.
There's no.
So next Christmas, if no one is at war with everything come next Christmas, I mean, I think an alliance or two should get together for server health purposes. I think an alliance or two should get together and piss us off right before Christmas and take the hit for the team. Otherwise, next year during the Delaware Classic, we're probably going to be pulling names out of a hat.
Yep, names out of a hat, 72-hour KOS at least. You know, just get that Christmas spirit going.
The giving of an ass whoop.
Then we'd have to change your name from ocmsrzr to Krampusrazor.
Cook, I was totally thinking the same thing. He writes in chat, instead of saying you're the Antichrist, just tell him you're Jewish.
Well, that was my response when I got all the hate. You did it on Christmas. It's the douchiest thing ever. I'm like, I'm a fucking heathen. Christmas don't mean anything to me. Don't put that on me.
Yeah. Ever try lighting some candles for Christmas? No, didn't think so. Here's your blown up ship for you.
They're lucky I'm not out there in the winter solstice sacrificing goats in their backyard. So count yourself lucky.
He does live in a yurt.
Shut the fuck up, Boom. Shut the fuck up.
Oh, yes. Anybody from server 45 listening, anytime you want to piss off Occams, just say he lives in a yurt.
This Boom.
Oh. On the show. Which one, Inko? Which base crack? You hit me with the Nova? Oh yeah, that's right. You did hit me with the Nova. Oh, that's when I'll just bring you up. Might as well.
Punking a guy with a Nova is the ultimate FU. I did it. It was beautiful. It was wonderful. I mean, I'm pretty sure my dick grew 2 inches.
What? You say your dick grew 2 inches? Jesus.
Yeah. We were raiding this war. We were raiding them in territory, and they're trying to stop us. And yeah, that ain't happening. So they were trying to interdict a warp point. And so, and normally, I mean, what do I care about raiding? I was trying to prove a point. I brought my Nova out with the PvP crew to raid the guy's base, and he's like, "Aha! I got you!" And he jumped my Nova with his like T5, T6, T7. I don't know what the fuck it was. Valdor, and my Nova smoked his Valdor.
That ship is surprisingly strong.
Well, the big thing about the Nova that you don't know unless you're scouring STFC space until you get it is it's the only miner I know that fires twice around.
You really haven't lived though until you've killed somebody with your Nova with Mabenga as solo captain. Just saying.
Yeah, can you imagine getting that fucking battle report?
Can you just once can you let me feel powerful, Incho?
I'm just you can do it. It's not hard. I mean, for Christ's sake, you only have a few hours in this game before you got nothing to do because you can't grind anymore. So you got to get creative, man.
Don't make me put the tinfoil hat back on.
I'm just saying. Every day when we had cow and even thereafter, every single day, it's like reliably a little over 2 hours and no cargo found.
Don't get me started.
Do you grind with 4 ships, Inco, or 5 ships?
4.
4. Okay.
Yep. So I had nothing to do because I got to wait 2 minutes before I can hit something again. So
Yeah. So you did hit me with the Nova. That's when I think I can't remember what I repaired, but yeah, I just blasted right through my base. But surprisingly, it only took like 8 or 9 million.
yeah, I mean the Nova is reasonable as it's the best ship to go ISO fishing with, because it just blasts everybody. So that's something you can do in your spare time when you can't grind.
Yeah, and I was so close to blowing up your disco before you summoned your Sanctus at my base. I was just like split second ahead of it, or behind it rather.
Got to be quick, man.
Well, I mean, you can only do so much when you're in this.
See, the disco is easy to. Well, but it's a friggin' disco, and it's got the most retarded crew on it as well. Like when they had the disco event, I had to send it in with that stupid crew because it's the only crew I could do to get out of base. Miserable.
But that was fun. Did I at least put a scratch on your Sanctus?
No.
No. Just a little.
No.
Come on, man. Just make.
AK, what do you mean? What's the max rep that I can hit? What do you mean? Oh, is the thing broken? No, they fixed the 4.4 billion bug a while ago, a couple of months. So yeah, it doesn't matter what your rep is.
Are you able to get your to rep to 15 billion to get the 60 ships yet?
No, I still need like 3 billion.
Okay.
It's slow going since you only have so much.
What's going to be your first 60 ship that you're going for?
The whatever the hell the ROM is.
Oh, the Derricks.
Yeah.
I can tell he's very excited about it. Doesn't even know the name of the ship.
Well, if it follows pattern with what the G5 rares are, once you get up to tier 6 or tier 7 equipment, it runs you 5 trillion trit, and there's 300 in a freaking pack. It's like that doesn't sound super exciting. It's still broken, so I'm real excited to see what the epics are. How ridiculously expensive they are.
Inco, none of you are supposed to be at the levels you're at.
Then why'd they release it?
To be there yet. Because we all know that they make mistakes. This is just one of their bigger mistakes. They didn't expect for any of you fuckers in a matter of a few months to hop 7 or 8 levels at this outrageously high price point.
Well, but it's not even just the levels either, right? It's the rep farming that's important. It doesn't matter. Just like what's her face that got her own banner, the first one to 60. Like, okay, great, but all she had was an uncommon. It doesn't matter what your level is if you don't rep the rep.
Yeah.
Neo.
Yeah.
But of course, the only rares I get are the ones that aren't that don't work. Actually, the Crozier works, and it's actually got a nice little bug with it. But I'm not going Fed, so.
Do you have it?
No, I don't have the I'm not going Fed.
Oh, yeah, right.
I have the Sanctus and the Kuv Pump Sex, whatever.
the Kuvsum Peck. Man, you need to
Whatever the
brush
hell it
up on
is.
your Klingon.
So it is your bag, baby.
Yeah, I don't know.
You need to brush up on your Klingon.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
But yeah, none of the G5 rare the G5 rares, their abilities don't work. I obviously would assume that the epics don't work, and it is what it is. You get the ship power, but you don't get any special abilities.
Thanks, Copley. We love you. Thanks for loving us back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But particularly when all it takes, I mean, it takes you nothing to get the uncommon. Wasn't that just like 100? It was just like 100 mil or something.
Nah, it was 1.4 bill.
Oh, there you go. I mean, that's nothing. That's a day. You know, if you're already locked, then that's one day of grinding. You can get it.
Sound like first world problems to me.
Well, I mean, it's a video game on a phone or a computer. Yes, it's first world.
You can get that much rep in 1 day, Inch. Normal people cannot. We don't have the ships to do it.
I was 50 when I did it, and just like everybody else.
Right, and you had every epic, and you had them almost maxed out.
I don't use epics to farm.
We've discussed it at length. Ops level actually means nothing. You know, you could have somebody that's a level 42 and will kick the shit out of somebody who's a level, 46, depending upon ship power and research and stuff like that. You know, ops level, people get hung up on that, but it's like, that just means what's available to you. It don't mean shit about what you have.
The only benefit to ops level, and we've talked about this before, the only benefit to ops level is the size of the pack that you get. That's it.
I would add on research unlocked.
True, but I mean, it's just that number. If you haven't done the research, that's the difference. But the one thing that truly you gain from ops level is the size of the pack. I don't disagree the availability of certain researches, but there's not a huge benefit otherwise to it.
You can upgrade your guns on your station.
The sole purpose of that is an event. Nobody's hitting these bases.
I'm sure
It's been a long time.
I'm sure if Occams joins our server, he'll be hitting your base, Inco, like every chance he gets.
Okay.
I'm going to be bribing Handy to find out when Inco sleeps. I'm going to crack that bitch.
You don't.
I'll go broke trying to get.
You can't.
You don't sleep? I knew, like a vampire having a bat hanging from the rafters. I knew it.
Well, that's what I get called on my server, so I think we got something in common. I have excellent shield discipline.
It's probably what his patients call him.
I'm the Antichrist. I might have got ahead of you for once.
That's true.
So we could pair up the Antichrist with the Chinese hacker in his mom's basement.
That's right.
Are you called anything new, by the way, Inco? Any new names?
I mean, plenty of family friendly comments, but that's about it.
But anything fun that sticks?
No, not really.
Nothing recent that I can imagine.
Somebody accused back in the day of Tech and I getting paid for the podcast.
Yeah, if only.
Yeah, it was kind of hilarious. They were like, "How do you get an auger?" Oh, all that Scopely money, and I'm like, "Really? An auger? That's like the fucking crowning achievement? Fuck out of here."
Well,
oh, that's right, DT. I've been called a cult leader. That was a good one.
Oh, that's right.
There is a cult leader on our server, though.
There is?
Yes.
Stop it.
There is.
There
There's
is.
a couple of them, actually.
Yeah, but the biggest one, well, I don't know if they're the biggest one, but they're the biggest one. Anyway, it has to do with some numbers. Not a lot of people care anymore, but you member. You
You don't want to say it?
That's cool.
Everybody knows that's part of the fun.
I remember like a year or two ago.
Because then later on, somebody can accuse me of it, and I can be like, "What? I don't know what you're talking about." I could do like everybody else does in the server. I could pretend to be stupid, like, "What? I don't know. What are you saying?" Like, "Oh my god, you're making assumptions."
I don't think a lot of people pretend.
There are some people that ain't pretending.
Yeah.
There are some morons.
I remember like a year or two ago watching a Red Deuce video and seeing some of the comments where people were commenting because they would see like how much latinum he had, and they were like, "Oh, you must be getting paid by Scopely to do all of these videos because look at how much Latinum you have," and just the insanity that went behind it. There were so many comments about it.
I haven't watched a Revdeuce video in a while, but the last ones I saw, all I could stare at was like, look how little lat he has. It's pathetic.
Well, he kind of moved on, right? But he's still getting views from this shit, so he's gonna milk it.
And if you don't have over 5 million Latinum, then you ain't got nothing.
Is that the qualifier?
Yeah, I have 10,000 Latin.
Huh?
Is the qualifier 5 million?
No, I don't know. I just picked the number I actually have.
If you accidentally hit the lat button with the G5 rares, you won't have that anymore.
Which is insane how much Latinum they charge for an instant repair.
Yeah.
By the way, I do actually one of the things that they being Scopely actually put in that's useful is that extra menu. Like, are you sure you want to use this lat instant repair?
Yeah, that was obviously very important, especially at higher levels.
Yeah, because I remember people bitching and moaning that they instant repair their jellyfish when they didn't want to. Back in the day.
Right. Yeah, can you imagine doing that to a G5 ship and going, oh shit, I just spent 10 million Latinum. Fuck.
Been there, done that.
Ouch.
Ooh.
Eh.
10 million?
You actually clicked OK?
No, I turned off that stupid thing ages ago.
Oh, well then who's the idiot? That stupid button or you?
Well, I mean, I got enough lat. I mean, it's a whoops, but it's not that big a deal.
There's trouble in the cult.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I hover somewhere between 10 and 20,000 Latinum because can't be affording that.
I got around like
How much Latinum do you have right now, Inch?
Been over 100 million.
Yeah, I was just gonna say probably over 100. That's insane.
Tech, what do you got? You usually keep some Latin reserve.
I got about 550,000.
That's a healthy amount.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't really lose much of it because I get a bunch of criticals on the away missions that pay Latinum. So whatever I spend, I kind of replenish it back. So I kind of hover around the 550, 560,000.
I've been really trying to hit those missions hard myself to get the free Latinum and plus the refining. I get 1,000 a day from that and stuff like that. But yeah, it's pretty. I mean, when you get to a point like at 43, there's nothing that doesn't take a day.
Yep.
At least. It goes so quick. That's including repairs too. I mean, well, repairs aren't that bad, but like my jellyfish is like fucking 16 hours or some shit, 15 hours.
Oh, I just use speed ups for that. I don't use lat.
No, I do too. I'm just saying, even research and stuff like that. I mean, 41, 51, 61, 71 days, over 100, and then you get up there to Inco's level, and if you were to just let it run, your kid would graduate college by the time the shit got done researching.
Oh yeah, some of the stuff I was just doing the other day is over 1,000 days.
It's insanity.
But I mean, they have speed ups for it, right? The one that still irks me is, we have, what is it, three researches and 2 constructors now, or something like that, or whatever. Where in the hell is my other scrapper? For Christ's sake, the one thing I can't speed up.
They're never going to do it.
Like,
that'll impact their bottom line.
Well, yeah, because if you look, like, for example, I was scrapping because I just because I had it there, and I'm just I try to keep something scrapping continuously, no matter what it is, just keep something scrapping. Like, there for a while, I had built up, for whatever reason, a few of those Tauruses, the G2 little Explorers. And if you scrap it, you get like 30 uncommon G3 gas and like 18 or 19 or 20 uncommon G3 ore. And, if you could keep those continually scrapping, I mean, that would drastically increase over time your ability to upgrade things, and they don't want to do that because then people aren't going to spend money.
I mean, I'd be satisfied if they just let me delete a ship. Don't give me anything. Just open up a space.
I truly wish that we could use speed ups on scrapping, but that's another story.
That's true. Oh yeah. So if I accidentally click the lat button, it's 11.8 million on the Sanctus.
Holy fucking balls!
So I mean, their numbers go up geometrically, and they always have in this game.
That is crazy.
I mean, you're up. You 56 or 57 last time I talked.
57.
So like I'm getting like at a decent pack. I'm getting 413, 450K. What do you get, Incho?
Yeah, it's similar. They're those numbers did go up, and there's some variability in them. So some of the packs are doing that, and some of the packs is like 10. But it's 465,000 lat in a station pack or something like that.
No.
So I mean, there's plenty of it. It's easy. And most of what I spend lat on is actually Alliance donation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm glad they approved getting a slider made for that 2 years ago. Really can't wait.
Oh god.
Thanks for my carpal tunnel on my thumb, Scopely. Fucking appreciate it because you can't go to slider.
That's right. Well, it's too hard.
Yeah, if they could do a slider though, we'd go up in like 3 levels in an instant.
Well, but I mean, technically, again, they approved getting a slider made. It was approved on their Discord, and again, it was about 2 years ago.
I know my alliance would be like, oh shit, the alliance just leveled again out of nowhere. Oh, Hawkins been drinking at night again by himself.
Yeah, that'll do it. That's mostly where the ships get tiered too.
Yeah. Made some of those decisions.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Inco, you gonna participate in this Trojan training event?
Do I? No, I don't care.
I mean,
yeah,
there's no point.
It's good.
I was actually thinking about it. If the survey scooped 1 billion, I still don't think that would be reason to raid.
So just for everybody listening, Trojan's leaving the game again. He'll be back in like 6 months, but he's leaving now, and he's letting the server drain him. He's got 265 billion par steel, 26 billion titanium, and 9 billion dilithium. I'm going to.
Oh, so he's poor. He's a low level.
He's a low level dude, level 55. I mean, if you ain't 60, you ain't nothing. So that's I'm gonna say that's gonna take like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks of everybody to drain that guy.
I guess they swarm him 24/7.
But it's just like it doesn't matter much though. Yeah, but I mean, again, at these levels, it just doesn't. It doesn't matter anymore. I mean, the numbers are just way off. Ever since G4, that's when rating broke. Because if you need trillions of resources to upgrade one building, it's like, what's the point? If I rated, if I could scoop his 300 billion, great. If I found 20 more people just like that and did the same thing, I could get a building out of it. So there's just no point. Now, some people like to raid. I get that. But, I've been bitching at Scopely forever to fix the rating mechanics in some way, shape, or form. Add some type of mechanic, add an exocomp, a something. We'll see this next week if something does come out for rating. But, I've always said, make a glass cannon of a ship that is nothing but a cargo bay, that scoops 500 million a pop. That might make me actually go raid.
I feel like 500 million is a bit exorbitant, but yeah.
No, see, I don't, and part of why I popped on here is really rating to me I feel like is where they started to shoot themselves in the foot, just in terms of enjoyment of the game. Because when you could raid, like there's something different about actively hunting versus just grinding hostiles or collecting resources off of a node. And interactively hunting is fun. And there are things that they can do to help raiding across the board. Um, I mean, they've already implemented a separation between ships versus bases because, like in territory, you can hit any ship, but you can't hit any base. And so they could have, for example, different level bands for rating because it does take so much more RSS for us to upgrade things. Although what I'd really like to see is something where you could have a rating specific ship that actually the cargo bay just scales based on what you're hitting. Because the complaint that lower level people have is if I have a ship that I can raid and take 2.5 billion in a scoop, obviously you can clean out a level 40 in like 1 to 3 scoops depending. And sure, that's unfair. But so if you made it where actually that raiding ship, if you hit a level 40, it's only taking 12 million per, which at our level, at least at my level, I wouldn't really bother unless I was just trying to make a point. But allow it to scale up. So if I'm hitting like a level 52, that I'm taking a few billion at a time. That would make sense, and it would add rating back as a valuable aspect of the game, which would get me more involved because I know several whale-ish level people, 47, 49 and stuff who have quit because rating no longer matters. And so then you just, again, farming hostiles and collecting resources off of nodes is not entertaining. To me, the hunting, the stalking, the finding and waiting until they forget to shield, and then draining them and having that time that I spent draining them have value because, as Incho said, like I'm a 54, so same thing, obviously not quite as high level, but raiding is such a waste of time currently because I could spend, 15 hours draining something and barely be able to upgrade, like one of my lower level, par steel generators. Like, what's the point?
You would raid for 15 hours just to recoup the repair cost of your ship to crack it.
Yeah, that's actually what I was just.
I use my cheap ships to crack. But yes, if I actually bothered to use, like my Tribune or my Corvus or something, then like the cost to crack it alone would take longer than it's likely that person would be offline.
Well, and it's also not only that, but like for example, I just went out and blew up a Nova because I can't remember how much they cost to repair. So a tier 2 Nova, so the one that I just got sitting around because I don't farm with 3 ships, I barely do at all. I only do it for the dailies actually, but just a tier 2 Nova is 2.3 billion trit and 45 and change million dilly. So you go and you farm and you go and you get all those scoops. If somebody turns around and hits you once, think about how many scoops just in mats that is. That's why it's so pointless.
I can get about 13 million with my Nova.
Yeah.
So what do I need? I need 200 scoops. I need 200 scoops to pay the repair bill in at once.
Yeah. And I would say, like, and so you just blew that one up. So tell them what because you said that's your tier 2 one. So the cost for the tier 2 versus what is the cargo hold on that?
Cargo holds are around 10 mil. If you use stone and what is it 4, it gets up to like 16.
Right. So
if you're doing everything correctly to take maximum amount of scoopage on a I have one that's like a tier 4. I can get that to like 16 million or something and change.
Well, see, I was just talking like for like. So on the tier 2, if you did everything properly and whatnot, I think that one would be around 14. I can't remember.
Yeah, that's it, ballpark.
But so to so if it gets popped one time, the 2.3 billion plus the 45 million dill, to get that when you're only taking 13 mil per scoop. Yeah, if people actually start to math that out, and then think about how long it takes each scoop, because you have at least a 5-second combat. There's probably a couple seconds, but like you start to really look at the numbers, and your ship gets blown up once, and you've lost like 15, 20 hours.
Yeah, it's a complete pointless mechanic. I mean, we do it sometimes because it's fun, or we play, or you see Tech Man hasn't put a shield up. You go crack with the Nova. That's a lot more fun, But to actually do it and try to do something other than to be, punitive, like rating somebody for the purpose of giving them a message. Other than that, there's 0 point, unless you get your rocks off on it. Which again, I don't blame anybody that feels that way.
Yeah, I mean it's fun, but I really wish that they would fix and make rating relevant again, and if they have to figure out how to ban it, or if they have to again vary the cargo size based on your target, whatever they have to do, because again, not only do you have the hunting, but you also get the interactivity, because it doesn't matter how big or small your alliance is, you can defend bases. You can have long drawn out fun combat over base rating. Those big ships you try to lock up with your rear altas. Those littler ships, you're actually hitting with real. Like, doesn't matter if your alliance is underpowered or overpowered. You can still have a fun conflict there. But we've lost all of that because almost nobody raids anymore, because most people, at least on our server, there are some 30s and they'll still raid, but a lot of people are into the 40s, and in that G4 and beyond, the numbers just skew so far that it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but that's and that's been my argument with them, is that they've lost a portion of the game, and they're only making that schism larger as they've gone into G5. Like at G4, it was broken. There's once you hit G4s, you start in the mid 40s is when rating functionally, if you look at it from a math perspective and a financial perspective, within game RSS, etc., it loses its purpose as far as a cost versus benefit, both your time as well as the resources and whatever. So, I wish they would fix that mechanic in some way, shape, or form. I have a glimmer of hope for this week, but not much. But we'll see.
I would also personally like to see them something to help with rating. I think they should eject bases from territory. I think territory should give you buffs and allow you mining, but I would actually like to see bases thrown out into the wind, remind people that they actually have to, protect themselves.
Right.
That, or allow it so that you can move your base into any territory. You just can't shield if it's not your territory. Like, give us a way to still raid people in their territory.
Right.
More effectively than this.
Because you can't warp raid, right? If people know you're doing that, you're going to get blown up, even if you're using higher level novas with war crews on them. Still there are going to be people that can blow you up. So if there was an allowance of some sort of, again, a higher scooping potential or whatever, okay, that might make it entertaining, because now we send 3 novas and I get one through and I get a hit, and it makes it worthwhile or something like that. But I agree with you also, being able to warp a base in and just not shield, that would be an interesting mechanic, and that's not hard to code. But
no, if only I could get Scopely on the line.
Yeah, you're never going to do that.
I unfortunately don't have the power to do that, but seeing as how we have Scopely employees here, it's nice. It's a nice discussion, right?
Oh yeah, we got 2 of them.
No, only called one.
Yeah, I think
but
had to shower for a week.
These Scopely employees are the most worthless ones. I mean, come on.
Yeah, right.
No argument.
My biggest thing was Scopely kind of screwed rating as it started exponentially increasing what you get and what you spend at higher levels. Not even in the not even in G4 space, but like getting to 38, 39, it also becomes kind of worthless. And then the other worthless part is you upgrade all these generators that don't do anything after a certain point. No,
Oh, that's the most painful thing in the entire game.
After like level 8,
yeah, no,
every time I'm looking at like, okay, now I need to level, and it's like, oh, you need to upgrade your parsteel vault. And I'm like, for fuck's sake, why?
Yeah, that was the biggest kick in the dick of going 49 to 50 was everything south of the tracks, because it had been like 4 levels when they hadn't made you do those things, and it was just your guns or your ship station or whatever, and then they go, oh, by the way, remember these things that you haven't leveled up in the last 4 levels or something? Here you go.
To get to 49, you had to do a big push on it, and then it laid back. And then when you hit, you're at 50. G5 came out. 50 wasn't bad. 51 wasn't that bad either. 51 wasn't that bad. 52, not too bad. 53, oh my fucking god!
Yeah.
Yeah, another kick in the dick.
They heard me screaming in fucking Ireland.
Yep. 57 to 8, you have to have everything south of the tracks at 57. So that'll hurt.
did you guys make us think about it on the whale server?
They don't listen to us any more than they listen to anybody else.
They listen to us less. They've actually come out and said that specifically, that devs actually don't like whales because they make the game harder for them because we do whalish things. I mean, they specifically do not want to listen to us. And that has been flat out stated. So it's the old it is what it is, but
And it's because
nobody I know talks on the. Go ahead.
And that's mainly because you do things that is faster for them to handle, huh?
I mean, any number of things.
We break their shit. Is what we do. We break their shit.
Yeah. That's why they put some of these hard stops out there, like, when they had the Borg cube, that was the last of the, mission chain. Here's this 106 million yellow that nobody will ever be able to hit. They put those hard stops in there. They do that on purpose. So, they very well could have done that, because like they've done it for other things, right? So like your ACC, you can only get it to level 50. That is the highest you can possibly get it, because they don't have a unique whatever it is doodad. Just like your exocomp factory, you cannot get it above level 40 because the advanced exocomp factory key is not in the game. So if they really thought there was a problem, when they release stuff, it would have just been, to go from Ops 52 to 53, you need some special doodad that will release in some mission at some point in the future when we're ready. So that's why I have no sympathy for them, because they've demonstrated that they know how to put hard stops on things. But if they don't have the foresight to do it, I mean, that's on them.
Looking at research that you have to have. Go ahead, Bo.
Like, I don't think that's a foresight issue. I think that's the delineation between the business unit and the development sector, because the devs want things like, they have this idea of it should take people at least X long to get to whatever, like which whales consistently blow up, and they hate. And they probably would have put in a hard stop if they could. But I bet the business unit, we just rolled into January, they want those numbers to look up end of year. So they're like, no, you can't put a cap in there. Let them blow as much money as they humanly can. And so that's where I think that happens.
Yeah, I don't doubt that either. But it just is interesting how, when they go and they do all this planning, they have some of these things that they've released that they put these random hard stops on. Like, I don't know about you, but like, I don't turn in any of the exocomp stuff because I would really like for that exocomp factory to be higher level so that I could actually get Alliance exocomps. Because I don't know about you, I rarely ever use, I know DJ says, he uses them all day and whatever. I can't remember the last time I used an exocomp.
Big build event. I'll throw a build or a research one.
The build, there you go.
Yeah.
That's the one. That's the magic one.
Or if I randomly remember when I'm like, I gotta go mine crystal, I'm like, oh shoot, I should put this on before I send that out, like, just because I don't use them otherwise. But it is
Yeah.
purely if I randomly happen to remember at the right time.
Yeah, like even when I go out and kill like 58s and 9s to do the daily, like I don't even turn it on for that. I mean, it's like, okay,
And I'm looking at research that requires ACC 51.
Yeah.
It's a prereq to have ACC 51. So there's research I can't do because I can't upgrade. It's physically impossible to upgrade the thing in the game that needs to unlock it. So there's a hard stop.
yeah. It's just like they had the research trees where you needed your ops level or your research at 51 before they released G5. So they have some of that ability. So I don't feel too badly for them.
Yeah, we've gotten into the whales complaining, which we have lots we could complain about. But I mean, to bring it back around to a degree, I really do think if they looked at redesigning rating and making it so that it was level dependent, you could have it so that the low levels wouldn't stop and complain. Because the big complaint used to be that, oh man, these huge guys, they can hit me at 39 when I'm a level 27 and they can drain me in a few hits. If they addressed that by changing either the base bands separate from the ship bands for PvP, or they just made a rating class ship that dynamically sized, I think they could do things to really make rating worthwhile again. And I actually think that would really increase activity overall. Because for me, when I was in the game all the time, it was because I was hunting. And now there's not much of that to do.
And that's absolutely correct. And a lot of these different fixes or a lot of this discussion has happened on their Discord for quite some time, for 2 years basically. But you'll find like Tech, you're asking about did I ever post it on their private Discord server? Man, I don't know any whales that regularly post over there anymore because it's just you never get listened to, so nobody cares. We go to the private Discords that aren't Scopely's and just basically complain about them and share tips and uncover bugs and share them with each other, because if they're not going to listen to us, and fuck them, we're just going to find ways around what they do.
Do you have a private Discord server for the whales outside of the Scopely one?
Correct.
Nice.
Yeah, such a thing.
That just makes it, because it's like if you're not going to get listened to, it's like, why am I going to keep beating my head against it? And they don't make any changes. It's like, okay, well, fine. You go on the other side and you figure out different ways of doing things. Like, how can you farm when they don't want you to? How can you crew this? What's working? Just so at least we have the knowledge to make the best decisions.
Hey, but they do a good job of putting up meme contests.
Yeah. I saw that. I was like, okay.
Every one of my memes was a dig at Scopely, which of course they did not appreciate. Starbound actually messaged me. I was like, hey, cut it out. Like, go fuck yourself.
I think it's funny because it's true.
It's going to be a race to see who gets kicked out of that VIP server first, me or you.
Oh, I've been kicked out of it before.
I haven't been raising hell for a while, so not since I told him to put down the crack pipe over the 1500 hostile cap.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was definitely not on Gala's Christmas list. I used to rib her all the frickin' time.
I think anybody is anymore.
Yeah, well, there's that.
Does she still work there?
But back in the day, yeah. No. At least not on the Discord server. I don't know if she's still an employee.
Well, I think she was still reprimanded for helping give stuff to people she liked.
Yeah.
And sleeping with players.
Yeah, and there's some other stuff that went on too. Yeah.
And sleeping with players. Excellent.
Well, damn. I feel like I missed out on some of the entertainment.
I'll tell you later, Boom.
Why don't we air it out now? It's not like Scopely listens to this.
Because it's not my server, and I'm fucking lucky to be there.
Oh, jeez. Let's pivot away, and I want to get back to Jay for a little bit because there's an interesting discussion going on in chat regarding territories, and if you hit OPL in territories, then some alliances will declare you KOS, which is beautiful. I love it. So Jay, what's the situation like in your territories?
I was blowing up swarms, so I didn't see what they were talking about. So they're talking about if you like your.
Let's just recap. For example, what's good? Well, I can't read Inco's post. He's posting. He wrote like a paragraph or something. Anyways, but apparently,
I didn't do that.
well, you did, and then not you, but Mud posted a screenshot of you typing way back when.
So that was from the server 34 thing. So here, I'll bring it up because I actually don't know the answer to this, and I think Handy and I don't know the answer to this. So we posted a few days ago. We're altering our ROE like Handy told you. We have this ability to do the enhanced ROE, aggression thing, right? Because it sounds like a cool idea. Give you a little bit more of an option, a little wiggle room here. And one of the things that we have in our ROE is that ISO hitting is not allowed. Interestingly enough, when we were going through this in our, in first our officer area on disk, and then with the alliance as a whole, I read that as Nona is not allowed to ISO hit, and apparently Handy has read that as no one's allowed to hit our ISO either. That it's bidirectional. And it just came up like yesterday. I've been meaning to actually talk to Handy about it. Like, that was not my interpretation. It's quite interesting. And the hubbub that has been thrown around, I've just kind of been ignoring for the past couple of days because it's so entertaining. Who thinks it's written that way or interprets it that way, and who hasn't thought of it at all? I'll be honest. I hadn't anticipated that. It's pretty entertaining.
Wait, what? So
Handy, look in the ROE where it says no ISO hitting.
yeah,
You interpret that as we're not allowed to hit and nobody's allowed to hit us, correct?
correct.
I didn't interpret it that way. I interpreted it as just because that's rules of engagement for Nona.
Well, yeah, I mean that is our rule that we don't allow our players to hit ISO. But now we're also telling people that we don't allow people to hit our ISO anymore. I don't care if you have it or not. We talked about that in our officer meetings.
We did some, but I mean, we could, if people routinely are hitting our OPL ISO, that would be a reason to put them on that enhanced, ROE thingy.
It would,
But
yeah.
it's just interesting. It's just interesting that we, I did not interpret it that way as like, on that document or whatnot. I just thought that was
I got
interesting.
you. Well, yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, if somebody wants to let their players hit a bunch of our ISO and whatnot, they can do that. And then we'll probably put them on aggressive ROE. And then they'll be stuck on that list until we decide to take them off. There's nothing, I mean, like Occam said how they do it on their server. They can ask all they want, but they're not coming off the list until we have a meeting and decide if we want to take them off the list or not.
No, I agree.
There is no negotiation. There's just either you're on the list or you're not. And if you're on the list, you have a chance to get off, but you better act right. Otherwise, we're just going to leave you on it.
Yeah, what we do allow is they can reach out and be like, hey, what happened? How did we get on here? And we'll tell them like, oh, these 3 guys of yours decided to come through into our territory and go OPL hunting. So that's why you're on there. And then they'll go and tell their guys, hey, knock it the fuck off. And then if they behave, we don't have any issues, then yeah, come that Monday, we'll be like, yeah, so-and-so alliance has been quiet. Let's let them off the hook.
Right, of course.
You know what you could do, Handy?
Yeah.
Just mark everybody on your server aggressive ROE right off the bat. Instead of being focused on putting people on ROE, have everybody on your server focused on how to get off of ROE. I'm just saying, if I'm going to be an influencer, that's kind of like what I would like to influence towards.
Hey, could you
So
bring
nice.
that up in our Admiralty chat? I think you're onto something here.
I have I had one of my rare moments.
So the fallout
Oh man,
from
that's
this is, if you scroll up a little further, it seems like a lot of other alliances are like, all right, no more hitting OPL, or we'll put you on aggressive RoE. Like, for example, most thing says our play style is server.
Well, most and Dark have basically been doing this for a long time, kind of, sort of.
Well,
Yeah, they're just not as public about it.
I guess they kind of were.
Well, most is pretty public.
I'm just thinking because whatever, it changes like day to day. So I don't know. It's hard to keep up, really.
No, the difference is we choose to let people know ahead of time. Whereas most alliances just make a policy change and don't say anything to anybody. And they just find out the hard way when they're getting targeted. And then they ask, what's going on? Am I on aggressive RoE or whatever you call it on your server? We used to just call it, we're focused on you, like we're
Special attention.
targeting you guys. Special attention, yeah.
Clap in hand.
Don't use that terminology.
Special attention.
So
Yeah.
we choose to let people know ahead of time. Of course, then that brings up all the questions. Well, what does this mean? What does that mean? Oh my God. But at least they were warned. And if they choose to test us on it, then that's their choice.
See, I didn't want to have all those discussions, so I feel like we warn people by reputation. Everyone knows how we are, so if they come in and hit our ships in our territory, they should know what's gonna happen next.
No, you guys are just cocksuckers, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Only if you got
Totally.
money.
I am a son of a bitch. Like
$20 is $20.
there is some truth to that. Like I'm not the nicest person. In fact, my diplomacy, although part of it actually swung the other way of being overly nice because I hit this point of I know what an asshole I am, but I'm not trying to put that on everyone else.
Just pause. If somebody calls you a cocksucker, you can't use the term swing the other way whenever you're trying to give an explanation.
Well, like I said,
No, I don't. I don't know at all.
no, yes, you clearly do. And $20 is
I do
$20,
not.
so I don't care.
Hey, man, I'm just saying there has never been a time where I've thought, I sure would like to have some thin skin against my lips.
God.
God.
Maybe we should edit that out.
That is not what you told me last night. You're sending mixed messages now. That's not what you said last night.
I think they're exchanging numbers right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. I've already invited Occams to my private server.
I bet you did. Is that what we're calling it these days?
Well, it is called the back room, so.
Yeah, the back door. Room.
I'm dripping down the property rates everywhere else.
Anyways, back on subject.
Yeah. So Jay, going back to Jay on server 11 here, what's your situation in territories like?
So there really isn't a written ROE rule regarding ISO hunting. They basically treat it the same as they do any other mining, unless there's a special event going on. So if I fly into, say, your territory and you're overprotected or on a dead node, I have all rights, to hit you, take what you got, and fly the heck out of there. That's basically how they're running it right now, except during special
Quick
events.
question. Sorry to interrupt, but I'm just an interrupter. So, quick question. If somebody's zero noded and they are showing no overprotected limit, they're still allowed to be taken out by somebody that's not in their territory?
If you're on a zero node, we have, anybody can take you out. Zero node, or overprotected or fair game.
Interesting.
Wait, why is that? Because
There's no purpose. They can't mine it.
yeah,
The whole
like
idea of
yeah,
it hitting a zero so you can take the node and mine it. I mean, you can't do that in territory, so there's no point in doing it.
Some people, they just do it just to do it, and nobody's ever actually written a rule on server 11 to say otherwise, so they just do it. I see it happen all the time. Like, I'll be in my territory and I'm not on a zero node, I'm not overprotected, but I'll watch some Yahoo fly in there and he'll just wipe out anybody he sees that's on a zero node or overprotected just because he can.
And nobody complains about that. Nobody retaliates.
well, so I could see why they wouldn't complain, because actually, if you think about it the opposite way, like
They're doing them a favor.
yeah, exactly, like your alliance mates are hogging these nodes, you can't get them off. Please, somebody come in and blow these assholes up.
Yeah, they're totally doing that alliance a favor. I just think it's hilarious that people think like that they're doing something that's going, oh, we'll show them, we'll blow up their zero nodes. Thank you. Come again. It's like,
Exactly. That's the way I look at it is I'm sitting there looking, whether it's ISO, whether it's ore and gas and whatnot. I fly around and I see somebody who's on a zero node and they're not overprotected, like you said. Unless I'm going to be actively mining that node, there's no point in me wasting the repair bill to hit them. For what? I'm not getting anything out of it except for the sheer pleasure of blowing them up. Unless it's somebody I don't like, what's the point?
Well, that in and of itself.
We have a standing rule on that.
well, we do.
We have, sister alliances. We call in airstrikes. We have, hey, every day, there's some players that just don't mind doing it. We're like, yeah, come through every morning and anything at zero node, please blow up. We're thank you.
Yeah.
Well, blowing up ships in and of itself is pleasurable, regardless of what ship it is. All right. Well, we're running up against 2 hours here. I just hit MOST OPL, and they send me. I just posted in podcast chat. Wonderful messages. Great people.
Oh,
Tremendous people. In any case,
just fuck you.
well, actually, so funny story about that guy is, he had his Enterprise watching his 2 meridians, and one meridian was like really OPL, like 200 and something thousand, and the other one was only like 30,000 or something, and he had his Enterprise there. And so what I did is, like, I put my Enterprise kind of out of the field of view, and then I just warped in my Vidar, right? And my Vidar went and hit his bigger ship OPL, his bigger OPL cargo, and then he tries to fly and hit my Vidar with his Enterprise, and I intercept his Enterprise with mine and blow it up, and then he proceeds to put his other miner back on the node that I just blew up. So I just blew it up with my Enterprise, and then I left. And then he told me to go fuck myself. But that's neither here nor there.
Well, I mean, what do you expect?
He was thinking that his strength of ship would destroy my ship with a different crew, and it, like, I only got maybe a little bit of damage, and I'm 3 levels underneath.
Most people put those guard ships out thinking they're just going to be like a talisman. It's going to ward evil players away, and they're not going to hit me.
Yeah, I never understood the guard ship thing. Like, I can't do it. I mean, maybe it works for some people. Like, I don't know if you're staring at it the whole time or what. I mean, I don't know.
I've done the guard ship thing once or twice, but it's usually when I'm mining and some Yahoo's coming out and trying to, just targeting miners or whatnot, and I'll send a guard ship just so I have something there. So if he does try to come after my miner, I have something to defend him against.
Yeah, see, I've used it for if it's stuff that you typically mine high speed, like data or lat, and it's during an event, because all the guard ship does is I don't even pay attention. It's just if I see the red flash for my miner, okay, someone's blowing it up, I swap over, and then I take back the resources with my warship.
Exactly.
One actual nice thing is that with the G5 ships actually have pretty reasonable cargo. So if for some reason I wanted to go OPL hunting, I'd absolutely use the Sanctus. Right now has 343,000 in cargo, and obviously since it's a higher powered ship, you could put Stone and 4 on it and bump that up if you really wanted to. I don't know, for some reason you were really bored, wanted to OPL hunt, I guess.
You heard it here first. The Sanctus is the new Vidar.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Just saying. Theory crafting here.
Dropping secrets.
That's right. Coming to a TC near you.
Coming to hand. I like that. All right, guys, let's wrap it up for today. I want to thank everybody.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead, Boom.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. Could I interject just one other quick thing on gameplay?
Yes, please do.
Because I would really like to also see for PvP, as much as in actual sports you don't want participation trophies. People complain about PvP like events in the game because a lot of them can't take on some of the higher level people in their band. So to get people to actually PvP, just make it participation based. Just make it, you just have to be in 50 combats, but then also have points in the leaderboard, because most of us that are competitive are still going to want to top the leaderboard. But that way nobody complains that, oh, I couldn't even do anything for this event. And then get rid of the bullshit about, do PvP or hostiles. Just make it PvP only. You got to fight your 50 battles, and once you're done, you get your event rewards.
Well, that's what they do with the disco PvP events. Is you have a leaderboard, and then you can individually.
You lost points if you lost, though, on the disco event, and so a lot of people still weren't participating. They were trying to do those isomatas instead. Get rid of the isomatas. Don't deduct points for losing. Just the PvP is PvP, and then let the alphas that really care and just want to go for bragging rights go hog wild to top those leaderboards.
See, personally, I enjoyed the disco event, and normally I don't like the PvP events, but that was one I enjoyed because I went up as a level 34. There was a guy that was frequently coming into our beta space and doing the event, and I got blown up by him a couple of times, and then I scanned his ship, looked at the battle log, saw what crew he was running, and I matched his crew, and then it became an actual challenge, because even though he was like level 42, 43, every time he came in, he risked that half the time he was going to get blown up by me attacking me because I matched his crew. And so for me, it was actually enjoyable.
Right, and for the mids, I believe that. I think the problem that I saw was, and why I brought it up is, for me at least, it was like the world's worst game of whack-a-mole, because I wouldn't lose to many people. But so trying to find them just to score the points was a huge pain. To heck with that. Like, just, we want to see, I at least would like to see just high scale, high intensity, a lot of people fighting. Because if it doesn't matter, if you're not really going to lose the points, then you're going to go and start to see, oh, I wonder what I can do against this, 45 when I'm a level 34. Well, because it doesn't hurt you. And so you're going to have people just PvPing more in general, which is going to be a little bit more entertaining.
Well, they used to run some PvP events where you just score points on like hull damage or something, or whatever, and those were more fun when they're bracketed in certain systems for the levels you're at. Because you're right. Well, for me, what I noticed on our server was that all the people that were in my range for the disco PvP event would come out as soon as the event started, and then when the bigs get on, everybody left, because there's no point fighting against the bigs, because they got their Max Harrison and their Max Marcus on their disco, and then they just clear people out.
Who has a Max Harrison? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'd like to meet the person that has a Max Harrison.
Crash them.
It's not that. Yeah, it's Max Harrison wasn't actually that hard. They were throwing them up in the store, like the actual purchase store, for 38 shards, over and over. So it wasn't that hard to max them.
Yeah, Max Harrison, I think, is 90% ignore shield first round or whatever.
100.
200.
100%.
Oh, 100%. I thought it was 90. Right, so yeah.
He goes 70, 80, 90. There, 100.
I mean, that's what I've heard.
So I think Crash Mode had a 90%. In any case, I want to thank everybody for being here. Jay from Server 11, Occams from 40, and Boom from 45, Inko, our resident Chinese hacking basement baby cult leader guy.
Asshole.
Yeah.
Just say asshole. Oh, no, that's Kirk. Sorry.
Yeah, Kirk's,
Yeah, Kirk's definitely a bigger asshole.
yeah. As Kirk would say, there's always a bigger asshole.
He certainly would say that. Wouldn't he?
Chef normally says there's always a bigger fish to fry. And Kirk would be like, there's always a bigger asshole to eat. It's probably his moniker. Anyways, and then what else? Yes, please listen, like, subscribe, comment, do all those things social media asks you to do. And thank you all for listening. I hope you all had fun today. I'm TechMan16.
Handy.
And we'll see you guys next time.
And Strange Kirk is LARPing.
He's always LARPing. All right, gang, feel free to jump into the after show.